This is Mac OS Ken.
The ITC gives the Apple case a miss, 2 stories around Apple financial products, and next-generation CarPlay may actually be ready to play. It is Thursday, the 21st of December, 2023. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well. Go to greenchef.com/60MOK and use code 60MOK to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. One way for Apple Watch to avoid its US sales ban is blocked. Today, Thursday, the 21st of December, is the last day you can order either an Apple Watch Series 9 or an Apple Watch Ultra 2 from Apple's site in the US. Christmas Eve is the last day you can go to an Apple store in the States and get one of those, all due to the blood oxygen sensor patent fight between the Cupertino Company and medical tech firm Masimo. Now, I think I have been conflating a couple of possibilities Apple had to avoid the ban. There were 3. The U.S. International Trade Commission, or ITC, could allow import and sale of the devices to continue while Apple appealed the patent infringement ban. The White House could override the ban, and Apple could reach a settlement with Masimo that would allow sales to continue. It is that first one that is off the table. A piece from Mac Rumors says the ITC denied Apple's motion to stay the ban while Apple files for appeal. And then there were 2. It is possible that the White House will step in, though there's been no indication that it will. An agreement between Apple and Masimo is also possible, though Masimo's CEO said on Tuesday that he had not heard from Apple regarding negotiations. Apple is also working on a software fix for what Masimo says is a hardware violation. Even if that works, though, it seems more likely that that will be a way to get the models back to store shelves, not a way to keep them from leaving. 5 shopping days left till Christmas is not the best time for Apple Pay, Apple Cash, and Apple Card to go down. But go down they did. For some. For a very short time. Engadget ran a piece Wednesday on the outage, which lasted just over half an hour. The plug was pulled at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. By 6:49, somebody realized what they had done and plugged it back in. I feel certain that is not what actually happened, but it's funny to think that it might be. For better news around Apple financial products, we turn to 9to5Mac. That site brings word of the first rate increase for the Apple Card savings account since the service launched in the spring. If you're not familiar with it, the report says Apple Card savings account is available exclusively to Apple Card users. As you earn daily cash rewards with your Apple Card, you can choose to have that money automatically deposited into the high-yield savings account in the Wallet app. Introduced in April of this year, 9to5Mac says the Goldman Sachs-backed accounts went live with an annual percentage yield of 4.15%. According to a push notification sent to account holders Wednesday evening, the APY is now 4.25%. The piece says that is higher than the industry average, though not the highest yield around. 2 things make this story sound strange. The first is the example that 9to5Mac offers of a savings account with a higher yield. Marcus, which is also run by Goldman Sachs, has an APY of 4.5%. Of course, Marcus is all Goldman all the time, which may have something to do with the rate difference between the two. The other thing that makes it sound strange, reports late last month and earlier this year have had the investment bank trying to get out of the Apple Card partnership and consumer banking in general. Making the savings accounts more attractive to consumers seems a strange way to look for the exit. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well. If you're looking to even out your eating this holiday season and into the new year, you're looking for Green Chef. Green Chef is now owned by HelloFresh, so you know they know quality and convenience. And they know clean eating. You can too, with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients with nothing artificial. Deliveries feature certified organic fruits and vegetables, organic cage-free eggs, and sustainably sourced seafood. All of it put together to help you manage your weight and support your wellness goals without skimping on flavor. Let me stress that last part. Green Chef is worth trying simply for the taste. Because, at least for the ones I've tried, each recipe tastes amazing. Go to greenchef.com/60MOK and use code 60MOK to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. That's greenchef.com/60MOK and use code 60MOK to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. Feel your best this season with Green Chef. Get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months with code 60MOK at greenchef.com/60MOK. Two tales of Apple retail to tell you, neither one very fun. We start in Barcelona, where one of Apple's unionized stores is going on strike 2 days before Christmas, this Saturday, the 23rd of December. A piece from Apple Insider says the CGT Apple Union at the Passeig de Gràcia store has planned a 24-hour action, or inaction, part action. The piece says the strike will see workers spending time outside the store, making noise and raising awareness. According to the report, workers are demanding bonus pay for working Sundays and holidays, setting working hours for those days on a volunteer basis, regular shifts with fixed in and out times, regularly established meal times, and monthly schedules that are presented to employees 3 months ahead of time. While the action is called for 24 hours, individual workers are not expected to participate for the full 24. It's unclear from the piece what the strike means for business at the store on the 23rd. While disruption seems likely, and also likely the point, the store's website still lists regular business hours for the day in question. Here's something you don't hear often. Apple is permanently closing one of its retail locations. Not closing for renovation, not moving to a new address. A piece from 9to5Mac says Apple has announced that its Apple Royal Hawaiian retail store in Honolulu will permanently close in January. The 57 people who work at the store won't lose their jobs necessarily. 9to5Mac says they are all being offered positions at the other 2 Apple stores in Honolulu. As for why the store is closing, the report has Apple saying that it regularly evaluates its retail footprint to ensure it is in the best possible position to provide support for its customers. I'm sorry, wouldn't more stores do that? I mean, it's cool if you want or need to close the store, but we're removing 1/3 of our locations to make things better for customers. Feels like a tough sell. Apple Royal Hawaiian opened 15 years ago. It'll close its doors for the last time on Saturday, the 20th of January. And finally today, the next generation of CarPlay is hitting the dash of a couple of pricey car makers. Engadget says Porsche and Aston Martin have previewed the Apple-powered interface in some of their future autos. On one hand, the futuristic functionality turning up in those cars is not surprising. They're luxury. They're cutting edge. At the same time, they are car brands that are so much about being cars. You really expect the odometer to turn and for the speedometer needle to be a needle. Or maybe that's just my perception. The only Porsche I've ever been in was old when I was in it 17 years ago. Times change. While control surfaces and readouts will go digital, they will retain some of each car maker's personality. According to Engadget, with each manufacturer partnership, there will be some matching and customization options throughout the screens. For example, the background wallpapers and knobs can mimic a car brand's style or look. On your mark, get set, wait, at least for the Porsche. That car maker has not said when the new CarPlay will be available in its machines nor in which models. As for Aston Martin, that car maker says CarPlay displays will turn up in its DB12 Coupe and DB12 Convertible. Those go on sale sometime in 2024. So that may do it for this week. I've got family in town. I got presents to wrap. Come to think of it, I think I still have presents to buy. There may be a macOS Can on Friday. If not, we'll get together again here next week. I do have to tell you about an exciting show, though. One that I love to hear every time it happens. If you're a regular listener to the Checklist by SecureMac, you may have heard this week's show before. It is our Hacky Holidays special. The guys from SecureMac, Augustrometer, and I talked about our favorite hacker movies, what they got right, what they got wrong, and what we could learn from them. What do hackers, sneakers, war games, and Superman 3 all have in common? They're all part of the Hacky Holidays special. On the Checklist, brought to you by SecureMac. Find it and listen wherever you find and listen to podcasts. And Hacky Holidays. macOS Can, brought to you by me and sponsored by Green Chef. Go to greenchef.com/60MOK and use code 60MOK to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSCan. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macoscan.com or call 716-780-4080. If we don't talk again this week, please have yourself a very Merry Christmas. Or if that's not your thing, have a great few days. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.